Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today we have an interesting video lined up for you guys where we're going to be talking about why we are invested in Cardano and the ADA token. We're going to give you 5 reasons as to why we think this is an absolutely fantastic project and why we invested in Cardano. Chris, anything you want to add at this stage?
No, I just think Cardano is going to make some very wealthy people in the future. Great project.
Absolutely. So guys, if you find this video useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris, I really appreciate it, as do I. And as always, guys, if there's anyone new here who has not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. By being subscribed, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, let's jump on over to the desktop and go through the very first reason as to why we are invested in Cardano. Right, so the very first reason, guys, that we really like Cardano and the ADA token is the people and the team over at Cardano, led by Charles Hoskinson, a mathematician. Charles Hoskinson is the founder or co-founder of Cardano. He was also a co-founder of the Ethereum blockchain as well. Basically, Charles Hoskinson is the CEO of 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦, and they help push Cardano blockchain technology further forward. So people working together, we achieve more for many, right? So ultimately, the Cardano is built by a decentralized community of scientists and engineers, and thought leaders, right? United in a common purpose to create a technology platform that will ignite the positive change the world needs. So, a lot of passion and drive behind the blockchain, Cardano, and fundamentally it's peer-reviewed research that has driven the development of the technology. And the team is very, very strong and understand exactly what they need to do to move things forward. And Charles Hoskinson, as the CEO of 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦, is no exception to this rule. With his understanding deep of the Ethereum blockchain, being a co-founder over there, he's been able to create this fantastic blockchain technology called Cardano that is a serious competitor to Ethereum. So he has referred to Ethereum as a pool where he'd like to actually have access to an entire ocean worth of developers on the Cardano network. He has multiple languages, and we'll get into that in a moment, but also side chains using the Ethereum virtual machine on the Cardano blockchain as well. Along with that, there's a whole host of other things that 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦 and Charles Hoskinson have created, which will get us into our second point. So the first thing we want to leave you with, guys, is team. The team is absolutely crucial for Cardano and driving it further forward, and it's something that we always look at when investing in a project. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, obviously not financial advice, but just our opinion. But the team is a fundamental part of whether a project is going to be successful or not. So for us, it's one of those boxes that has to be ticked.
Absolutely. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and have a look at, I think it's this tab here, it's the technology, right? The development of Cardano. So this is the second reason that why we invested in this particular project. So Cardano brings a new standard in technology, open and inclusive, to challenge the old and activate a new age of sustainable global distributed innovation, right? So from the incremental to global, Cardano improves how we interact, transact, and create, and ultimately operate as a global society. And beyond that, and beyond what's written on their website here, the things that 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦, Charles Hoskinson, and the team are doing is creating a very diverse way of utilizing the Cardano blockchain. They've created an ERC20 converter. That ERC20 converter allows projects that are currently sat on Ethereum to take those projects and move them over to the Cardano blockchain very, very quickly and easily, with 3 different methods to convert those ERC20 tokens. So, technology like that is absolutely fantastic, but is not the only piece of technology that makes Cardano incredibly attractive. The other things that they do very, very well is the ability to have an inclusive pool of developers. So what we mean by that is opening up, the programming language that is kind of heavily driven in the blockchain technology. If you look at Ethereum specifically, Solidity is the language that is used to create those smart contracts. Over on Cardano, they want to be able to create smart contracts using not only Solidity, but also, a whole host of additional common development languages such as C++, right? JavaScript, etc. So there's a whole host of different languages that can be utilized to create dApps or decentralized applications and smart contracts on the blockchain for Cardano. And those kind of things are really important to understand how big the scope becomes, right? So if you look at Cardano versus Ethereum, Ethereum's pool of developers is tiny. It's a mere few million. Whereas when you open up the entire scope of development languages, you have tens of millions of developers who can start to create decentralized applications for Cardano. And that is absolutely massive. So not something to kind of just glance over. Above and beyond that, there's additional things. So we won't go into detail here, but there's other projects like 𝗕𝗓, for example. There are then, Oracle data protocols with Wolfram Alpha integrated into the Cardano as well. The technology aspect of this blockchain is relatively unrivaled. There are a few similar projects out there, and some people may even say superior than Cardano, but Cardano is definitely one of those projects from a technological point of view is definitely up there. It has taken them quite some time to be able to rewrite everything from the ground up using that peer-reviewed research. But the end results are looking incredibly polished and very, very fit for purpose. So that then takes us over to the third reason, Chris, which is staking.
Yeah, I love the fact that you can, get a passive income from what you've built up in your Cardano portfolio. So for me, yeah, being able to get between 5.5% APY and 8%, which I've seen today from a British pool, is just phenomenal. It's a great passive income, and obviously as the value of the token increases over time, that passive income that you're making now is going to be fantastic in the future, right? There's multiple pools now, so I think they've split them, haven't they, Nick? You have to forgive my terminology. It might be not the correct terminology, but there's multiple pools now. Which is going to be great for the space, right?
Yeah, so they've changed the way that the pools were working. So rather than having a few centralized large pools dominating the space, they now have an upper limit, which they call saturation. So ultimately, when there's 60 million ADA in a staking pool, you actually get diminishing returns on the pool, right, rather than progressive. So ultimately, you're incentivized to keep pools relatively lean from an ADA staking point, and that allows for a diverse range of pools to then start popping up, each with like that upper limit of around 60 million ADA, right? Now, the other thing that they do here is they make it so that you can only participate and stake to a single pool. Therefore, they're kind of hoping that it has a more inclusive environment for staking. And I actually really like the approach that they're taking here with staking, Chris.
I do too.
Okay, so then that takes us over to the fourth point of why we really like Cardano and the ADA token and why we invested, and that is well, they call it an opportunity here, but it's the inclusiveness of the blockchain, right? So at the staging point of every new opportunity, empowering your business through Cardano and discovering the future of technology, right? So it's incredibly inclusive technology and inclusive blockchain for many different reasons. Ones we've spoken about earlier as well, which were around, how we have a wide pool of developers that can now write decentralized applications and smart contracts for Cardano. Means it's widely accepted or available to tens of millions of people instantaneously for your decentralized application needs, right? So if you're planning on creating a decentralized application that's incredibly fast, because the technology is incredibly fast, has high throughput, and relatively cheap to actually run on those transaction costs, then Cardano makes it incredibly easy for you to do that. It's very inclusive. So Cardano provides the template and tool sets for a new age of innovation. It introduces leading edge technology, models, and methodologies to help individuals, developers, and enterprises discover the new possibilities, realize change, and enrich their lives. And that's a really powerful statement from Cardano here on their website. And ultimately, we're talking about individuals being able to use ADA for their own personal uses. So they might want to use it as a store of value to do transactions or whatever. And we get into e-commerce aspects of ADA as well at some point in future videos, no doubt, because, even Shopify, dApps are being written to integrate, payment services with Shopify using Cardano blockchain, etc. Right? So there's lots of things going on that make the opportunity, make the inclusiveness so much, so vast and very attractive as an opportunity to get involved in. And then, Chris, I guess the fifth and final, well, not necessarily the final, but the fifth reason why we really like Cardano and the blockchain, and why we invested so heavily into ADA is all about the long-term vision. Chris, do you want to take people through what that looks like?
Yeah, so at the moment we're in like the decentralization phase, aren't we, Nick? Which is they've labelled it 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're soon going to be sort of moving into the smart contract era, aren't we, with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏, which you could probably talk through a little bit more than myself.
Yeah, so 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀, when it goes live in Q1 of 2021, will be the smart contract functionality for Cardano. This is a templated system that makes it incredibly easy to go ahead and create smart contracts, right? So if we refer back to smart contracts created in Ethereum, the way that they actually get created is via a copy and paste, believe it or not. A really not a very structured or robust way of approaching it, but nonetheless the fundamentals are you're copying and pasting from location A and pasting into location B, creating that smart contract. With Cardano and the smart contract system that they have here, it is vastly more superior to that on Ethereum. And it's a templated system, which means it's very modular in how it works, and you can create smart contracts very, very quickly without many technical skills whatsoever. So it's a very inclusive way of creating those smart contracts. Moving on from 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 though, and that's a very brief kind of explanation of that. You can go to their website, check out their roadmap, and you can look into this in a lot more detail. But fundamentally, moving on, we go to the scaling phase, or 𝗕𝗀𝗪𝗀, right? The scaling phase then looks at how you can scale this blockchain to insane levels of throughput, which is absolutely fantastic. And obviously, this is the next obvious step after the smart contracts get launched. With all of those dApps and smart contracts being created, you need to make sure you can scale. This is the kind of the problems that you're having with Ethereum not being able to scale, those high gas costs and etc. Right, a lot of those issues are solved with the Cardano blockchain. So moving on. Yeah, go for it.
Say one thing to mention on that, Nick, is just in regards to problems with Ethereum blockchain, is as you mentioned, again, this is part of the reason why we like this project so much, is it's been rebuilt from the ground up, right? So the problems that you're seeing with Ethereum is because they go to fix a problem, but in fixing that problem, it potentially causes another problem somewhere else. And you're not going to get that with Cardano, which is another reason why we really like it.
Absolutely, it's not going to have so many bugs in the code. Well, unfortunately, Ethereum has experienced quite a few over the years, but also experiencing them with 2.0 as well. But yeah, scaling is incredibly important, and we need to make sure that it gets nailed. And then the last stage, the Voltaire, which is the governance stage, which is pretty obvious. Again, you need to have good governance over the decentralized platform as it exists. So that will come in the future, and those are the 5 phases of the Cardano. That is effectively the roadmap. We are currently obviously over here in the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 era, and in Q1 of 2021 we're going to see 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 go live, and that's going to issue in era 3. From there we'll eventually have the dates on 𝗕𝗀𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 and Voltaire in the future as well. And I would like to think, considering we saw 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 launch in 2020, we can see 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 go live in 2021, maybe even 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 in 2021, leaving Voltaire off maybe into 2022. Ultimately, the roadmap is incredibly attractive. I do recommend everyone heading over to the Cardano website, checking out their roadmap. You can get into all of these in detail by clicking them and digging right into everything that they're about. There's a lot going on here with the smart contracts. We talk about Plutus, you talk about Marlow, and all these other fantastic things. KEVM, for example, Yella, which I mentioned earlier, Plutus ebook. So those are things to be researching and digging into. But ultimately, guys, those are some of the reasons of why we like Cardano as much as we do, why we've invested so heavily into the project, and ultimately we think the project's going to do incredibly well moving forward. If I go ahead and load up the Cardano chart as well for you guys, you'll get an idea of what the future might look like as well, right? So we'll be heading up towards at least 39 cents, potentially up to the 44 cents relatively shortly. I have some nice price targets in my mind going forward for Cardano and ADA in 2021. I think we could see $10 ADA token in 2021 during a peak of a bull cycle. So it's going to be an interesting time 2021 with Goguen, smart contracts, potentially scaling, and a nice bull cycle as well. So guys, if you found this video useful and informative, definitely do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it, as do I. And if you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, we hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, take care, everyone.